Hello, everybody, and welcome to an overview of Chapter 4 in the Essentials of Social Media Marketing textbook. My name is Nick Tar, and we're going to do a really quick overview here of the chapter, which is all about marketing with Facebook. Today, I'm not going to be going through the actual lecture slides. I'm actually going to be scrolling through the actual textbook as it exists online. This is done for a couple of reasons. Number one, I've always found that these shorter videos are better when you can see the instructor walking through the actual content so that you can do the same along with them at the same time. Then also, the content in the textbook is a little bit more comprehensive than the slides. The slides are fine, and there's plenty of information shared there. But I just think the way that the information is laid out in the book itself is a little bit better. So if you will humor me here, and we go into the online course here, we're going to go ahead and check this out. Okay. So we have Facebook here. Facebook, largest social network in the world, just about always has been. And as of about towards the end of 2022, you were looking at almost 3 billion users. Now, there's a lot of question marks about how accurate is that. I'm not really sure. That's not for me to decide. But the first section here, or section 2, I should say, is really all of the big numbers here. In terms of the course, you don't really need to know all of these big things. However, one thing I do like to talk about are the different generations that use these social networks. And these are going to be mentioned a couple different times in the text. But if we look at Facebook to begin with, this is really the place where the older social media users exist. I personally was pretty surprised that 18 to 24-year-olds still were that large of a share of Facebook users, but for whatever reason, it is. But you'll also see that those numbers that skew a little bit older as you get into, well, obviously here, but then also pretty much everything from 25 to 34 and up. These are numbers that you're not going to see numbers these high on any other social network that we talk about in this course. It's just not, it's gonna be lower. And if you think about, the fact that down here is going to be so much higher skewed, especially as we get to sites like TikTok and Instagram, it's an interesting dichotomy between them because Facebook, it's the longest standing social network right now. And it's been around for almost 20 years now. The fact that it is still so popular with the older generation really says two things. First off, a lot of people like myself, we've been on Facebook for a long time. And for me to go in and to delete Facebook, my own Facebook account, for example, is to delete about 18 years of stuff that I've been posting online. It's essentially the number one source of if you were to go one location to see my growth as an adult, it would be there. And that is very much the same way with a lot of people that are on Facebook that are in that 25 to 34, 35 to 44 range. In that the people in my generation, the millennials of the world, we all had a Facebook at one point, and a lot of people have deleted them. But if you think about those who still have a Facebook, chances are, if you started a Facebook in the mid 2000s, you might not be using it much anymore, but you still have one, and you're probably never going to delete it unless something major happens. It's still there, and it's still the number one place that people go to see all these connections that they've made over the years, many of whom they probably haven't talked to in, I don't know, a decade. But it's the same time, it's the same opportunity for you to go and see what's happening in people's lives. Who got married, who got divorced, who died, who had a kid. And it's those types of life events that keep bringing people back to Facebook. It's not the daily status updates. Those are largely a thing of the past. when I think about when I personally post on Facebook, I only post on Facebook probably 5 times a year at this point, and it's rarely about me. It's usually about the people around me, the things that are going on around me. And while I use Facebook Messenger all the time, and I go onto Facebook, and see what other people post every now and then, I personally, as a Facebook user, just do not don't have the self-serving and overwhelmingly self-promotional attitude that a lot of other people have. And I mean, that's a common theme with all social networks, to be perfectly honest with you. But Facebook is kind of the original one to do this. Now, I digress a little bit. I did want to step back as an introduction to Facebook a little bit. This is really an overview of the social network. If you're not familiar with its history, be sure to go in there and read up on it. Section 3 is how you set up a Facebook page as a business. I don't think this is a particularly relevant piece, because I'm going to be real honest with you. At this point, you're either going to join a business that already has a Facebook page, or you could be starting a business yourself, or working for a business that doesn't have one, or maybe you're hired as the first social media administrator for a business, so they don't have a page. At that point, it's not worth it. Don't do it. Maybe not entirely, but Facebook for Business has become a very, very niche situation. And if you were to dig into these numbers a little bit more, I think you would find that it's a lot of work for a very small return. And so, I mean, that is more of my personal opinion, but I will never ask anybody about on an exam or on a quiz, what should you put for your hours? What are the following things that should be on a Facebook page? Because at this point, Facebook has really shifted the algorithm and what they believe their users want to see. Facebook doesn't think that you want to see businesses that you follow. Facebook thinks that you want to see the groups that you're in, the friends that you engage with, your family members, your loved ones, maybe people that you haven't seen in a long time that you used to engage with many, many years ago. But if they're in there, of course, Facebook thinks you're going to engage with the ads because that's how they make money. And that means the business pages that you organically follow are the ones that get left out. And you are stuck as a business page with very, very few organic viewers. On average, I don't have the latest data, but when I last researched my content marketing textbook that I wrote with Stukin, I found that the average reach of a Facebook page is less than 5% of its followers. So if you have 100 followers, that means 4 people. If you have 1,000 followers, it means 40 people. And it just isn't worth it anymore as a business. Now, if you're a local organization, you're a local restaurant, if you are very much all about geography, people that are nearby, and you are all about the groundswell of support and word of mouth, then sure, Facebook is a great place. But 9 times out of 10, the usage of a Facebook business page is simply not worth the time. Now, while the organic side of it may not be worth the time, I can say that advertising is sometimes worth the time. And there's a lot of really good details that go into this video that Facebook's parent company Meta created. We won't go through that today, but I do think that the business suite is a good addition, and I highly recommend taking a look. Within the business suite, there's opportunities for audience building. There's not much here in this section, but that does lead me to the components of a Facebook post. And so this is a really important piece. I'm not going to go into too much detail here because this is meant to be a very broad overview, but a couple of important things to understand when you're building a Facebook post. One, when you're creating a Facebook post, a lot of times business pages are going to include a link to a website. Sometimes it's their own, sometimes it's other websites. When you copy and paste a link, kind of like this bit.ly link here, there's going to be a link preview that automatically appears. This is really critical to the success of posts with links. Otherwise, people aren't going to like trust the link if it doesn't have a preview. And also it does, it does the heavy lifting for you if you have a link in here. Now, interestingly enough, if you can go in, you can copy and paste the link right into the post, and then you could delete that link in the preview, and the actual action of clicking through will remain if you publish it. So it's actually okay if you put in a link and then delete it just for the aesthetically pleasing side of the post. Now, Facebook believes that these built-in links are going to get twice as many to like links that are put in with a photo, which is what this one is here. Like this is a photo with a link. This is a link in a link preview. And I totally agree, because if people do see, I mean, I can not agree. Obviously I have to agree, but I see how that happens, because if you put in a link here, it's like, oh, let's check it out. And they click the picture and then they realize it doesn't go anywhere, and then they move on. Meanwhile, here, this is a clear preview of the link, and it does some work in terms of promoting what's on the other side. The other thing I wanted to talk about are videos. I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook videos. There are a lot of different best practices to follow, and I do believe that Facebook videos in general are a good idea. But now, about 7 years ago, a major Facebook executive got on the stage at a major international conference and said that in 5 years, Facebook will be all video. That didn't happen. In fact, about 25% of Facebook's content is video right now. So she was way off. And while that made splashes, and the fact that I'm still talking about it is, credit to her, I just think Facebook, it's a much ado about nothing. And that due to the rise of other social networks and their reliance on video and the ability for them to insert video more prominently into their apps, such as TikTok and Instagram, even Facebook's own other project, you end up with Facebook, which is left to those of us who are not posting as much video. Facebook is okay for the horizontal video. You don't need to go with the tall TikTok style video. You could go with the traditional 16:9 widescreen video and be fine. You'll probably get plenty of views. However, you're not probably going to get the views that you're expecting. You're not going to go viral with one video. Rather, there is a really critical piece of content here that you need to realize, and that is the fact that, hey, videos are great and they do well for the most part, but at the same time, the average view time of a video on Facebook is about 3 seconds. It's long enough to scroll down, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I don't want to watch this. Scroll down. The end. Now, if you go down, there's a couple other types of content that are shared here. There's GIFs, hashtags, which hashtags are kind of out of going out of style here. Your traditional photos and all of that. So I just wanted to make that one piece about Facebook video clear. The Facebook content strategy section is pretty good. They're talking about being authentic and brand behavior and engagement strategies. Those are all great. I don't like optimal times. I hate that. Pin post, good. Emojis, absolutely. All these things are good to include. Asking questions, absolutely. You need rhetorical questions. You want to engage the audience. These are all good things to do. And if anything, this section should serve as a nice little piece of inspiration for any future work that you do on the social network, especially from the business side. Now, having said that, we do need to address the big missing piece here, which is the advertising side. I did have you looked at, hopefully you'll watch the Meta Business Suite video earlier in the chapter. But here are some big numbers to Facebook here. There are companies that are in existence because this is all they do. They advertise on Facebook and Instagram for companies, and they have found a way to make it so that the money that the company that the advertiser spends is going to be less than the profit that they get out of it. And as a result, you see a huge quick climb in terms of ad dollars. And and also, I mean, as the results are improving, people are making more business, getting more business out of it. And we as digital marketers are here left with the question of, how does advertising compare to the organic content? Because I just spent 5 minutes telling you not to create a business account on Facebook, but now here I am on the advertising side saying that Facebook is like the king of paid social, and that is a dance that you have to do as a digital marketer. Now, as I keep scrolling through here, there are plenty of details on these ads, which I'm not going to go into, but I highly recommend looking at them a little bit more, especially the analytics side here. In section 9 and 10, you can look at on your own. But the thing I do want to kind of conclude with here is when there's Facebook advertising going on, there needs to be just as much attention paid to the organic content that page does. Not because people look at a sponsored Facebook post and then immediately go to the page and hunt for more stuff, but rather the prevalence of more impressions for a Facebook post in front of more people is naturally going to lead to a higher number of visitors and instant followers. Sometimes people just give follows based on what they liked in an ad. And as a result, that gives you a new opportunity to reach people, albeit a small percentage, with your organic Facebook posts. And at the same time, you need to make sure that the organic content that you're posting on Facebook is complementing and is consistent with the content that's going out on the ads. Now, Facebook shopping ads, for example, those aren't going to be the same. But if you're going to sponsor a Facebook post, maybe promoting something really cool or interesting that you did, you need to make sure that the other organic content that you promote on a regular basis is doing the same thing. It's really important that Facebook on the organic side not only has a consistent message, but it has the same voice, it has the same authenticity, and is sharing the same type of content. Because if you pull the rug out from somebody and you show them one cool thing in an ad, and then the organic content is 180 degrees different, that's going to lead to negative brand equity for sure, and declining brand awareness. And you don't ever want that. If anything, Facebook is meant to be an advertising engine. I think the number one usage for Facebook at this point for businesses is the advertising platform. Again, or unless you're a local organization, but that doesn't mean you can just never post organically. There is still a need to do that to supplement the success of advertising. So that is all on the Facebook chapter today. I'll be going into marketing with Instagram, which I believe is the next chapter up next. So if you have any questions, I am happy to answer them. Just send me a note, and otherwise enjoy the next couple of chapters. Those will be posted soon.